One of my mother's sisters married a Hart. That's the only connection I have to the Harts. But they always consider me a Hart, and I keep saying, well, I'm not a Hart. But anyway, my father and mother rented for a few weeks, probably a month, each summer when I think I was 3. And I think it was the Young's house, the first White House coming out of Oak Bluffs. Because I can remember on the 4th of July, that's the first memory of anything that I remember. Over the front door, there's a little porch up over it. And my brother Jack and I threw torpedoes. They were little things, they looked like little candies, like those little Hershey Kisses. Threw them on the cement walk, and they made a great pop. So, of course, that was very exciting for a 3-year-old. And then we rented different homes. And then Mother bought a beautiful house there on the harbor. Just wonderful for us. My brothers adored it, so did I. We didn't come for the whole summer either. We rented to make enough for the taxes and all that stuff. So we just swam a lot. We clammed like crazy. We caught crabs, blue claws. Oh boy, they were yummy. I could go out in an hour, and I can't get any now, but I could go out in an hour and fill a bucket full. And then when I was probably 12 or 13, that was when Howard Hart, he wanted to teach all his grandchildren, he had a lot of them, and all the kids to how to sail. So that was the most wonderful experience for me, for all of us. So my father had a little dock built on the pond. It was big enough so that we could race in there, and it had 2 buoys at either end. And I think there were about 6 boats. Of course, we had crew on our little boats, too. We took little kids with us because there were so many kids, piled them in. So everybody got a chance to learn.
What kind of boats were they?
Well, they were all different. He tried to make them as close as he could to being the same speed and all that. I had one, was called a dog boat, leg of mutton sail. It was lapstreak, and it was very pretty navy, and it had an orange sail. I think I was awful lucky to have that one. I love that boat. It really was just wonderful. And then he had a megaphone. You see in all these pictures of them, it's a scream. He has this big megaphone, and he stands on the dock and shouts out all the stuff. Tack, pull in your sheet rope, and blah. After he taught us what to do and how to do it and all, and watch the wind and tacking and jibing and all that, then we had races. If you won the race, it's 25 cents. 15 cents for second, 10 cents for third. One day, Howard Hart, our commodore, he decided that we were good enough to go into the harbor, which was over our heads. And that was wonderful. That gave us so much freedom and so much fun to be able to go to so many different areas, and we'd pack our picnic lunch and think we were going off to China or something. That was great. And then finally we got good enough, and then we were allowed one day to go out in the ocean. Oh God, it was wonderful. Just feeling that wonderful bit of freedom. We had really a lot of freedom then, and we could go up into anywhere up into the harbor. They didn't want us to go out to sea. But one day, a bunch of us just knew we could do it. We knew we could do it. And so we said, well, why not? So we did. We went to Edgartown. It wasn't no problem. I mean, we were good. We all know how to sail. We all had life preservers, of course. We were taught that. But this was the first time we'd ever done it. So we went over to Chappie to swim. So we pulled up, and I don't know how many of us there were. I would say there was probably 6 boats. And all of a sudden this putt-putt came along, a little small boat with an older man in it. And he came up. Is there a Mr. Young here? And Bung Young stood up in his boat, and he said, I am Mr. Young. And he said, well, your mother wants you to go right home. Scream. So we were grounded, the whole fleet of us were grounded for a while, but it was worth it. It was wonderful. And one of the things we used to do that I loved was roller skating in this rink. And the roller skates, you just rented them. And they were wooden wheels, very noisy in there. Extremely noisy with a wooden floor and everything, but oh, it was wonderful. And that was, I think, it was sort of where the bank is up across from the steamship. I thought that should go on forever. I still think so. I think people would have a lot of fun doing it. We had loads of fun with it.
Darlings. You must have gone to
Oh, that's good to bring up. They have this wonderful sign. Darlings, 20 years the best. And for about 50 years, it always said for 20 years the best. They have a very long counter, and in back, with these machines making this wonderful, wonderful taffy. And we knew every single color, the flavor of every one, and the wrapping, every one. I was partial to lime. It was pale green inside, but the wrapper was green also. And there was clove and cinnamon and, oh, I don't know, it was just wonderful. They made bars of popcorn. They were about this long and about 3 or 4 inches across and about 3/4 or an inch deep. They were different flavors also. Molasses popcorn, that was great. Oh, there was strawberry, pink, chocolate, brown, light brown. White, was that vanilla or what was it? Probably. I used to always like the strawberry. Going up island and stopping at the Adams sisters, tea times. That was a favorite place to go on rides. The Adams sisters, they're very famous on the island. They were in Barnum and Bailey Circus because they're very small. And they had little high voices. And they were very sweet ladies. They did spinning of wool, and so they showed the whole process. They started from just the wool with their old-fashioned spinning wheel and all, and explained to everybody how it was done. And then they showed what they'd made with the wool. And then they had tea time, and they made ice cream and served that. They were lovely people. Later in their lives, they got a house in the campgrounds in Oak Bluffs. And I had 2 sisters that were handicapped, and the nurse and the helpers for them became acquainted with these lovely ladies. And so when they went for a ride around the island, they'd take the Adams sisters too, and they really got to know each other. It was great fun for my sisters and for everybody. And so they would come down to our cottage and visit too, and it was really nice. And in Hart Haven, we always had a clam bake in August. Ever since I can remember, we had clam bakes. Most of our clam bakes when I was young. Howard Hart had a huge catboat. I think it was a catboat. It was the biggest thing I ever saw. And they would go over, and we went sometimes, would go over to Chappie, to Cape Pogue. And then they would dig the sand up and put the seaweed in and put the rocks in and then the seaweed and build a fire and get the rocks hot and all that. And they'd bring the lobsters, bring the clams, bring everything, bring the tables, sawhorses for the long boards. I mean, the excursions were just unbelievable. But fun? Oh, it was so much fun. But we just spend the day. We'd come back late afternoon. Everybody helped. Everybody worked. We probably dug the clams. But we really, really had a wonderful childhood. It was just amazing luck. I mean, we all say that all the time now. We were all just clueless as how lucky we were.